Ah, that's such a good bummer. That's so much fun. Jason, I'm sorry, man. I love you. But that was way too funny, dude. I couldn't help it. It made me laugh so hard. For some reason, for like the 30 minutes that I spent editing that announcement video, I did not notice the spit that came out of your mouth. So I couldn't help it. It was too funny. What? It happened earlier in the video? Well, that was the earlier in the video. Like as soon as it started? I'm sorry, Jason. I love you, man. It was too funny. It was too funny. I had to do it. I had to do it. All right, everybody say, what is good? All right, now, on the count of 3, I want you to tell me something that is good. You ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I heard all of them. I heard all of them. That was good. That was really good. So we're going through this sermon series called What is Good? And we're talking about just that. What is good? Maybe it's things that are awesome, okay? Maybe it's just things that taste good. Maybe things that look good. Everybody look at the person next to you and be like, you look good. I look good? You said that about yourself? You said I look good. Okay. So this week, we're going to continue on with this message series out of Micah chapter 6, verse 8. And, hey guys, out of Micah chapter 6, verse 8. We're continuing on, and this question is asked. In Micah chapter 6, it literally says, well, God, I could give you everything in the world, but in the end, what is really good? And so we're going to dive a little bit more into that today. Last week, Jason kicked off the sermon series with a message that talked about doing what is right. Anybody like me, are you rebellious by nature? Like when someone says, this is what you should do, you say, I'm going to do the opposite. Anybody else? And am I not alone in that? I'm definitely one of those people. Or when someone says, you have to do this, you then decide, I'm going to do everything I can to not do that. I'm going to do everything else I can possibly do to not do that. Okay, so Jason's message last week, it rang true for me because I'm the person I want to avoid. If I can avoid doing something I just really don't want to do, I will go above and beyond, especially if someone tells me that I have to do it. I'm absolutely 100% like that. Anybody in here like cleaning? Anybody in here like to clean? That's disgusting. I hate it. I can't stand it. Okay, what about this? Let me get more specific. What about cleaning dishes? Is anybody like doing the dishes? Anybody like that? Really? That's fascinating. Okay, I can't stand it. I loathe it. It's awful. I don't like the dishes. Okay. So, does anybody else in this room? You will do everything that you can to not have to clean dishes. Like you'll use paper. You'll like whatever you need to do. Does anybody follow me on Instagram? Does anybody follow me on Instagram? So this past week, okay, I decided at the house that I was going to make raviolis. Anybody else like raviolis? How many people have never had raviolis in their life? That's sad. Missing out. Okay, raviolis are this delicious pasta that is full of something, okay? It's like this pasta. Sometimes it comes in squares, sometimes in circles, and basically it's full of something, okay? So I prefer, anybody like carrots? What? No. Okay. If you had the choice between like a meat sauce on top of your spaghetti or like just plain tomato sauce, who would go with meat sauce? Come on now. Okay. So I decide meat raviolis are way better. You know why? Because just meat is delicious. Like, ew, no, Okay, Shelby decides she has to have a cheese ravioli. So, it's disgusting. Okay, so here we go. So, who in here like me would try to figure out the best way to have the least amount of dishes? Anybody else? You're like, okay, so if I cook 2 different types of pasta, then I have to dirty 2 pots. Isn't that the worst? And you have to clean them afterward. And it's awful. Anybody with me? Anybody with me thus far? You're like, okay, who would just microwave it? Who would be like, I'm just going to throw it in the microwave and then it's going to be good? That's gross. You're gross people. That's gross. I can't eat like that. So here's what I decided, okay? if you follow me on Instagram, you may know this already. Spoiler alert, okay? If you follow me on Instagram, this is what I decided, okay? That I was going to take a pot and fill it with water, okay? And then I was going to take aluminum foil and I was going to build a wall, okay? I built an aluminum foil wall, and I split the pot in half. And I put her half and my half, and I cooked raviolis. And guess how many pots I had to clean at the end? 1. That's right. 1 single one. Now, afterward, I realized something very, very bad about it, is that I put in more effort building an aluminum foil wall than actually it would be to probably clean a pot. Anybody else like that? You put in more effort to avoid work, and then you're like, I don't even know if that was helpful. Okay, that's my struggle, okay? So if you're anything like me and you didn't catch last week's message, go online, check it out. It is on not only our Facebook page, it is linked to our Twitter, it is on our YouTube page. Search up GV Next Gen. Watch Pastor Jason's message last week about doing what is right. But we're going to continue on with this message series, and this week we're going to talk about loving mercy, okay? So the very first thing, Selah, do you love mercy? It's good, it's good. Her sister's name is Mercy. Get it? Because it's her sister's name. Anybody else know somebody named Mercy? Anybody else? See, okay, all right. So you're like, I love Mercy already. Okay, so, or maybe you don't. Maybe you just know somebody and you're like, nah, don't really. Okay, so this week we're going to talk about love mercy. Everybody say love mercy. Micah chapter 6, verse 8, it says, so what is good? And he says, well, to do what is right, but then also to love mercy, okay? And that's what we're gonna focus on a little bit more this week. So what is mercy? Okay, I looked up the definition. Here's kind of a generic definition. It says compassion or kindness that's showed toward an offender or an enemy. Okay, so compassion or kindness that is shown toward an offender or an enemy. Now, anybody in here really like pranks? Anybody really like to pull pranks on other people, like to mess with other people? Maybe you just like to convince gullible people of weird things, like just everything that you can do. Anybody else like that? Okay. Has anybody ever taken a prank just a little too far? Like just an inch too far? Or maybe you took it really too far and you didn't like step across the line, you like sprinted across the line. Okay, so I've done this too many times, okay? Too many times. So when I was in high school, okay, I was really, really, really into pranks. I was like super into pulling pranks. From the time that I was probably like maybe 7th, 8th grade, all the way up until I was like a senior in high school, pranks were just like the best, okay? I don't know why, can't explain it. I loved it, every moment of it, okay? Now, I was a really jacked up kind of prank person, and here's why. Because when I went to go pull a prank, I was fine if I didn't see the person's reaction. Does anybody have to see their reaction? Like, you want to see them the moment that the prank happens. You want to see, like, the devastation on their face of, like, pure and utter, oh, no, something just happened. Okay, I'm the kind where I can just leave it and walk away, and the image of what's going to happen in my head is the best. Like, I'm satisfied with that, okay? So, anybody in this room like Jell-O? Anybody in the room like Jell-O? Okay. I really like Jell-O. For putting stuff in. I like putting stuff in Jell-O. Okay, that's what I meant to say, because I don't eat Jell-O. Jell-O's gross. But, anybody ever put things in Jell-O? Like you take items and then you put them in Jell-O and you like encase them in Jell-O? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Has anybody ever seen The Office? Maybe someone, no? You know what I'm talking about? Put stuff in Jell-O? It's the best. It's so funny. Okay, so I decided as a high schooler that I was going to do this. However, I may have taken it just a little too far. So here's what I did. I picked my target, okay? It was a friend of mine, picked a target, and I was like, all right, I'm going after him. So I decided that I'm going to steal some of his things, and I'm going to, one by one, put them into Jell-O and then mail them to him. This is what I decided. So I broke into his desk, into his office, and onto his desk, and I cleared off, like, all of the knickknacks from his desk. He had all these, like, weird little, like trophies and, like, figurines and, like, weird, like, things that, like, they weren't, like, important things necessarily. It was just like decor things, right? So one by one, I mailed them to him. I encased them into Jell-O and then mailed them to him, okay? I saw him the next time I mailed him, like the first one or two, and he started, I kid you not, freaking out. Someone broke into my office and they took all my things and now they're mailing them to me in Jell-O. And I was like, dude, it's terrifying, man. What are you gonna do? I don't know. What are you gonna do? I don't know. He's like, I don't know who it is. You gotta help me figure it out. And I was like, yes, I will help you figure it out. I am 100% gonna help you figure this out. So for the next month, I just kept mailing him these things as he slowly lost his mind, freaking out about who had broken into his office and mailed him Jell-O. Now in my head, I was like, I'm too deep in the prank. I can't say it now. I can't. To this day, he still does not know that it was me. It's true. I thank you. See, I look back and I was like, dang, I took it too far. It was too far. I retract that. I need to go back. It was jacked up. Shouldn't have done it. Somebody, he's scared. Yeah, now he has a Jell-O phobia now. Anybody else ever taken a prank too far? Someone tell me a story. Come on. Tell me a story of a prank you took too far. Ew. What the heck? She said last April Fool's, she switched her parents' underwear, and they were not happy about it. Okay, all right. Jula. Okay. 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 What the heck? That's so jacked up. She said her parents told her that that they had paid for her trip to New York, and then on April Fool's said, no, we didn't, and she cried. Anybody ever had a prank pulled on you and then you cried? Like that was your initial, you're just like, ah! That's awful, Jula. I'm sorry. That's terrible. It's too far. All right, tell me a story. Yes. You made a tripwire? Okay. But it wasn't a good one. Okay.
So she says she's never gonna follow me.
Okay.
She was walking
She was walking
backwards,
backward? Okay. And she fell over it? Did she hurt herself?
Yeah.
That's so jacked up. Whose brother or sister pulls pranks on you the most? And it's awful. Oh, that's so jacked up. All right, just a couple more. Taya. Okay. It's so jacked up. That's so jacked up. Taya said she slammed a pie in her friend's face. That is messed up. She's gonna get you back? That's not, what? What? All right, one more. Tell me one more you pulled, the best one.
So then it was at the end of the school day, and I was lying on the floor and had fake blood.
You had fake blood?
Fake blood.
That's too much.
And so
Fake blood is too far.
she was doing this play that involved a fake bone knife.
Okay.
And so I was lying on the floor,
In fake blood.
Fake blood.
Okay.
Like,
Shh. Hold on. Shh.
fake blood on my like stomach.
What the heck?
I was laying there, like with my eyes open, like not breathing. She's walking
What?
down the hallway, and she looks at me. She screams and starts crying.
Taya said she pretended to be stabbed with fake blood on the ground. What? This is so messed up. What? This makes my Jello look like nothing. What? You made somebody think you were dead? That's so messed up.
And my friend, she did like bruises on my face. She's really good at like makeup that looks like you got beat up.
This is awful. This is awful. Okay, all right. I need one quick one. I need it to be super quick. Super quick. Last one right there. Make it quick.
So, I was washing my hands with soap water in a cup, and my dad went into the kitchen and he drank the soap water.
Ew.
And he spit it all over the place.
Ew, what the? Did you intend to do that? Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. Worst prank I ever pulled on somebody. You ready? Here we go. This is probably the worst one. It's super easy and it's super basic and nobody do this, but it was really funny. So this is really bad. So again, I decide that I'm just bored one day. Anybody get bored? Sitting at home, it's during the summer, there's no school, none of your friends are around, you don't know what to do, you're bored. Okay, so this is where I'm at. Sitting at home, it's like over the summer, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, like the house is boring, right? So I decide to pull a prank. So I started looking up pranks online, nothing's good. So I'm like, maybe I'll like go on Craigslist and just look for random things, for random cool things. Does anybody else do that? You just browse through Craigslist when you're bored? No, only I do that. I don't know why. It's weird. Okay, so here we go. Ready? So I'm scrolling through Craigslist, and I decide that I have a great prank idea. As I'm going through Craigslist, I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do. So I pick my target, and I go over to their house. Okay. And in their driveway is their car, right? So I walk around the car. Just take a couple pictures, walk back in, walk back home. I jump on Craigslist, and I go, awesome car for sale. And I post some pictures, and I put this super low price. And I make the car sound amazing, right? Like custom speakers, like new rims, like blah, 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 right? Make it look all nice and sound nice, right? And then I say, if you're interested, please contact me, and then put that person's number on the Craigslist post. So I was like, yeah, this is a good idea. So I post it, right? And I think to myself, like, all right, I'll let it go for like a day or two and then take it down, right? It'll be fine. So a day or two goes by, okay? And I see this person. And they look very flustered. Like, they look very tired. They look very agitated. And I'm like, hey, you good? And he goes, yeah, I think someone's trying to sell their car on Craigslist, and they put my number on there, and I don't even know whose car it is, and all these people are calling me. And, like, I've been getting calls at, like, 2 in the morning about this car, right? So my friend is telling me about this, and I'm like, man, dude, that's rough, man. That sucks. I don't know. What are you going to do? And he's like, well, I tried reporting it, but nothing happened. And, I tried this and tried that. And like, I don't know. I have no idea. And so I go, man, I'm not going to tell him right now. I'll tell him later. So he goes on. So that night I go home, and I'm like, all right. I gave him a hassle. He had some hard time sleeping last night. So I'll take it down. So I go on Craigslist, and if you've been on Craigslist, if you want to post something, you have to, like, have an account, right? So I made a fake account to put his car up on Craigslist. However, the problem was I forgot the login. So I didn't know how to log back in to take it down. So it was up for like 2 weeks. And he got calls day and night, so many that he stopped answering his phone and he put an answering machine on his phone that the first thing it said was, "The car is sold, click." And that was it. That was his voicemail. And it went on for 2 weeks until Craigslist finally took it down because they spammed the report button enough to where it came down. That was probably one of the most jacked up pranks I've ever done. Once again, I may have crossed the line. There was a moment in the prank where I was like, I think this just got out of hand. Probably took that a little too far. So here's what I want to talk about. You ready? Here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about mercy. You know why? Because it takes mercy in this world. Because we're surrounded by some jacked up people. Sometimes people do it intentionally. Sometimes people don't do it intentionally. And I think all of us have been on one side or the other. Sometimes it's just a simple prank that just gets out of hand. Sometimes it's a joke. Maybe it's a comment that's made. It's somebody who said something that maybe hurt you. Maybe you said something that hurt somebody else. But we need mercy. We need compassion towards somebody who maybe is an offender. An offender doesn't necessarily mean someone who's an awful person or an enemy, someone who you hate all the time, but it could be anybody. It could be family. It could be friends. In fact, sometimes it's your family and friends that hurt you the most. They say something. They don't think about it. They pull a prank that goes too far. They don't intend to hurt your feelings, but they do, and it happens. And so at one point or another is mercy. And so out of Micah chapter 6, God encourages, and he says, well, what is good? First of all, to do what is right, yes. But second of all, to show mercy. But even beyond showing mercy, it doesn't say show, it says love. It says love mercy. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about why. So if you have your Bibles, you ready? Turn with me to Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3. If you have your Bibles, Proverbs chapter 3. How many people have their Bibles? Someone hold it up. Someone hold it up. Someone hold it up. Jordan, I haven't even, what? I'm going to make you say something else now. Say mercy. Ready? 1, 2, 3, mercy. Haha, got you, Jordan. All right, take your word, flip to Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3. We're going to continue to talk about mercy. And here's why. Because we need it. Other people who offend us, they don't necessarily need our mercy. We extend it and we give it to them, but really we're going to talk about why it's more so for us. Why extending mercy, why loving mercy, why being full of mercy helps and benefits us. And we're going to talk a lot more about this. But in Proverbs chapter 3, who's there? Yeah. That was good. If you're there, say, yeah. That was good. Proverbs chapter 3. We're going to start in verse 2. Actually, you know what? Let's start in verse 1. Why not? We're right there anyway. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 1, it says, "My son, do not forget my teachings, but keep my commands in your heart." Verse 2, "For they will prolong your life for many years and bring you peace and prosperity." Verse 3, "Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor with a good name in the sight of God and with man." The NIV says, "Let love and faithfulness." Love and faithfulness. There's a different translation. And it says, let mercy and truth never forsake you. Tie them around your neck, write them upon the tablet of your heart, and you shall find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and of man. So here's the point that I want to make, okay? It says, hang it around your neck, whether it's mercy, whether it's love, whether it's faithfulness, okay? Hang it around your neck. Does anybody really like necklaces in here? Why do you wear them? Because they're nice, right? You're like, oh, they're fancy. They look nice, right? They're pretty, whatever. Hang them around your neck for people to see. Bind them around your neck, not only to make it obvious, but that it's right in front. That it's the first thing, that it's love and it's faithfulness. Let it be mercy, that one of the first things that people notice and see about you. When you see people who are anywhere, just pick any spot, anywhere, there's a lot of people who are kind of messed up, kind of jacked up. They're kind of rude. And when somebody's rude to them, what do people do? they're rude back, right? So when you bind these things around your neck, what happens is when someone is rude to you and you respond with love, with faithfulness, with mercy, okay? When someone offends you and you reply back with compassion or with kindness, when you show them mercy, what it does is it makes you stand out. It makes you look different, and people notice, hey, what? That was weird. Most of the time, people will respond rudely back. When people are offended, when someone says something mean to them, they reply back aggressively. They're angry. They insult back. They do something, but they're not compassionate. They're not kind. And here's why. You ready? It's not for them. It's good for you. Show mercy and love mercy, not for other people, but for yourself. Why? That doesn't make sense. I don't need forgiveness, right? If someone offends you, does it make sense that it's good for you to show mercy? No, it's good for them. They need mercy, right? They're the ones who need it, right? Wrong. It's for you. And let me tell you why. Anybody ever, you don't have to raise your hand, but I'm sure there's somebody in this room who someone has said something hurtful to you and you didn't say anything back. It hurt. It was painful. Maybe you tried to fake it, pretend like it didn't actually affect you. Maybe you moved on, tried to ignore it, tried to hide it, maybe just laugh it off. You had a smile on your face, but in reality, it kind of affected you. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you told them that it affected you, and they didn't care, and they walked away, and you were left just feeling hurt. Here's what mercy does, okay? Mercy, when you choose to show compassion or kindness towards somebody else, it's a step in the direction of forgiveness. It's a step in the direction of saying, I'm not going to allow this pain, this hurt to affect me any longer. Look, I'm not going to live in this moment where so-and-so, somebody, mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, whoever, said something or did something that hurt me. But your choice to show compassion, your choice to show kindness, to extend out like some sort of love or faithfulness, it opens up the opportunity to move on, to step forward. And it could be from something as showing them some sort of kindness, some sort of compassion. Maybe it's just a smile as you walk by. But it could also just be praying for them. It could be when they're not around, when they're not even anywhere, you say, God, I pray for blessing in their life. And it'll begin to turn your heart. I promise. People who have hurt you and offended you. James chapter 3, it says, but if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your heart, do not boast about it or deny the truth, which means don't ignore it. But also 15 says, such wisdom does not come from heaven, but is earthly and unspiritual. Verse 16, it says, for where you have envy and selfish ambition, you find disorder and every evil practice. However, wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, and then, full of, what is it full of? Mercy. It is full of mercy and good fruit. Peacemakers who reap a harvest of righteousness. So mercy, it's not for the other person, but you choose mercy for yourself so that you can move forward, so that the hurt and the pain and the bitterness, the difficulty, it's for you. So anybody find forgiveness really hard, like me? Anybody find forgiveness really hard, to try to forgive other people or even to show somebody compassion or kindness when they've offended or they've hurt you? It's difficult. In fact, it sucks. It really does. When someone's really, really hurt you and it's painful and it's difficult and you struggle with it all the time, it's super difficult. Even if it's an accident, even if somebody says something or does something and they don't even know that they hurt you, it can still bother us. And so how do we do this? You say, I'm not good at this. I'll be honest with you, I'm not good at it. Here's the last thing I want to point out. Sam, go ahead and throw up the last point. How do you show mercy? You practice. Anybody like practicing? Anybody have anybody sport? Anybody in a sport? Anybody athletic in the room? Who loves to go to practice? Anybody love to go to practice? Okay. Who hates it the next day when they're super sore? Anybody hate that? You like it? When you wake up in the morning, you're like excited to be sore? It brings you like accomplishment? That's okay. All right, I can see that. You wake up in the morning, you feel really sore, and you're like, yeah, it's so good. So, practice. How do you get better at something? You practice. Showing mercy and even further than that, loving mercy. Choosing to hang it around your neck. Choosing it to be an adornment of your life where you walk around and mercy is something that is just displayed. It's something that you see and when you interact with people, you just want to share love, to share faithfulness, to share mercy with them. Look, it's difficult and it sucks. But just like practice, the more that you practice, the more that you choose mercy, the easier and easier and easier it gets. So here's what we're going to do. One last verse. You ready? If you have your Bibles, flip to the very back. It's called 1 Thessalonians, and it's going to be chapter 5. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. This is where we're going to end. And we're going to finish talking about how is it that I show mercy? Okay, so if I want to love and really I want to show mercy because there's going to be pain in your life. If there's not now, there one day eventually will be. I hope to not burst your bubble there, but people suck sometimes. Situations suck. The world, it's rough and it's difficult and it's hard and we don't know how to deal with it. And life comes at us quick. So how do we do this? How do we practice mercy? Ready? Here we go. Verse 14 of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. It says this, and we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive. Encourage the disheartened. Everybody say encourage. It says help the weak. Everybody say help. It says be patient with everybody. Everybody say patient. Verse 15 continues. It says make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and for everyone else. We talked about that just a few minutes ago. When someone's rude to you, it's almost like your nature that you want to be rude back. I totally get it. I feel the exact same way, and I struggle with it. When someone's rude to me, I just want to be rude back. But it says, do not pay back wrong for wrong. It says, but always strive to do what is good for each other and for everybody else. Verse 16, it says, rejoice always. Verse 17, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for your life. So, encourage. Everybody say encourage one more time. Help. Everybody say help. Everybody say pray. Finally, patient. We encourage, okay? Encourage one another, help one another, be patient with one another, pray for one another, love one another. And it's hard and it sucks and it's difficult, but here's what we do. We practice. Why? Not necessarily even for other people, but more so for ourselves. To be able to move forward, to be able to grow, to be able to learn, to be able to understand that people might hurt us, but it's not the end of the world. That when people hurt us, we can move forward, we can grow, we can be stronger, we can be better. That pain and hurt and suffering in our lives does not have to cripple us in any way, shape, or form. Maybe it's something as simple as like when someone walks in the room and you know that person. You don't have to raise your hand, I'm sorry, but you ever had a situation where like there's that one person who's like hecka mean or you think they hate you and they walk in the room and you like always know where they are? Like in the back of your head, they like walk in the room and you're like, oh, it's that person. And you have to like try to dodge them and you like work your way around, right? Bitterness, envy, pain, hurt, suffering, it can control you. How? Just like that. That you spend all of your time being worried about maybe where a person is or what a person is thinking or how that person hurt and affected you. And what you need is mercy. You need forgiveness. But not even beyond just showing mercy, but loving mercy, hanging around your neck so that when those offenses initially happen, you immediately can respond with compassion. And those hurt and those pains, you feel them for just a short amount of time. When you respond with mercy, it so quickly does the pain and the suffering go away because God is there with you. And when you choose mercy, His Spirit is there with you. Bow your heads and close your eyes with me. Let's pray. God, I praise you and I thank you that we don't have to figure out this on our own. That in our lives, when people hurt us, when people offend us, when people are jerks, when people truly and deeply offend us, God, we pray that we respond with compassion. Why, God? because you were first compassionate toward us. God, there was a time in our lives where we were enemies to you. We sinned. We hurt your feelings, God. We were made in your image. In the same way that we have feelings, you have feelings, and we've hurt them, God. We've turned our back on you, and yet you are merciful to us. So in the same way, Lord, I pray that you would help us to extend compassion and love and faithfulness. Mercy, Lord Jesus, to the people around us. Let mercy be an adornment that we walk around with, God, that we would be identified by our mercy, that when we show love, when we show faithfulness, when we extend that to the people around us, when we're compassionate and kind, it would be evidence of you and of your Spirit. We praise you and we thank you, God. We release the pain and the hurt in our life as we display mercy to those who have hurt us. We praise you and we thank you, Lord, in your holy and in your precious name. Amen.